Among other leading Democrats who had been long leery that a suspension of the federal gas tax, which stood at 18 cents a gallon for decades, would translate into lower prices at the pump. Representative Neal stated, "We've got to figure it out again. Who gets the money?" And all of a sudden, it's a tiny savings for the consumer and big savings for the oil companies. It doesn't accomplish the goal that we want to see. What the administration idea is, and then we'll figure out how to react from there. In promoting a gas tax holiday, Biden said it would help struggling families through their bustling summer travel season. He's not only urged Congress to suspend the federal tax, but also called on states to suspend their own fuel taxes, which averages at 26 cents a gallon. The House Majority, Steny Hoyer, is another Democrat skeptical that a gas tax holiday would be effective, largely out of concern that the savings will be absorbed by retailers and wholesalers, but not passed on to consumers. Hoyer reiterated these concerns, though he's not ruling out the support Biden's proposal before taking a closer look at it. 6 ongoing online petitions called for Congress and President Biden to deliver recurring stimulus checks of $2,000 until the crisis ends, and have now collectively passed 3 million signatures. The latest change, .org petition for monthly direct payments, was created by Denver restaurant owner Bonin. It asked for the U.S. Representatives and the Senate to pass legislation that is going to provide a $2,000 payment for adults and $1,000 for children immediately, and continuing regular checks for the duration of the crisis. A second smaller petition calls for Biden and congressional lawmakers to join Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and other politicians who have recently supported recurring stimulus checks. A group of Democrats have sent a letter to Biden asking his administration to deliver recurring stimulus checks, everybody. Folks, what do you think about President Biden and the fourth stimulus check? Can he get the job done or not? Chuck Schumer has made a big announcement on the new financial aid. Many states and cities are putting funds towards programs that would guarantee Americans with a stimulus check every month. The Social Security COLA for 2023 could be the biggest in decades. However, that increase is monthly checks may not be enough. The Senior Citizens League, an advocacy group, sent a letter to members of both the House of Representatives and the Senate recently. The group is ramping up its calls for new $1,400 stimulus checks to be sent at once to Social Security beneficiaries. The letter was signed by Rick Delaney, chairman of the Senior Citizens League, and he said that we believe that a special stimulus for Social Security recipients could help defray the higher costs that people could face if the next year's COLA bumps them into a higher tax bracket, causing higher tax rates on their income and surcharges to their Medicare Part B premiums. Next year's Social Security COLA is projected to be at least 8%, driven by rising consumer prices. Yet that more generous increase may not be sufficient to help recipients, some of whom have had to cut back on their spending on food or seek aid from food pantries or SNAP benefits. The Senior Citizens League is advocating for changes to the method by which the annual COLA is calculated. The SSA currently uses the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers to determine whose changes. Now it's also known as the CPIW, and it tracks spending by those who earn an hourly wage or work in clerical jobs. The Senior Citizens League is also calling for legislation to ensure that Social Security could continue to pay benefits for the next 75 years. The Social Security Trustees' annual report recently showed that the combined trust funds used to pay retirement and disability benefits will be depleted in 2034.
For your effort, and for the IRS's effort, and for the employees that work for you, the heroic effort that they put in place to build a system to demonstrate that we do not have to accept these rates of childhood poverty as a permanent feature of our economy or a permanent feature of our democracy. And that was thanks to the work that your folks did. So I'd love to hear your reflections as an economist and a policymaker on the effects of the expanded monthly child tax credit on children and families, and what is your general reaction to all of this?
Senator, you've spoken eloquently about the benefits of the child tax credit. I completely agree with your comments. It cut childhood poverty dramatically. It enabled families to get a little bit of breathing room and to help their kids afford nutritious food and clothing and back-to-school supplies, and it really played a critical role. I think you know that the president has repeatedly said that he strongly supports extension. We would love to see Congress enact that. It's made a huge difference to inequality. It was a very important initiative. I feel very proud. I appreciate your comments. I feel very proud of the work that Treasury and particularly the IRS was able to do to get this money out and to do everything we possibly could to ensure that non-filers, all the many households who weren't required to file tax returns, to make sure that they receive the credit as well. I would love to see, and we've been talking about investments in the IRS. One thing that investments in the IRS would do is make sure the IRS has the modern tools it needs when we have tax.
I'll let them take care of that. Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
thanks, Corinne. Could you just speak a little bit more about why is it Vice President Harris who's going to be giving the speech, in particular her, on Sunday? And does the President have a message for the people at the right, the March for Life march?
Sure. So as you know, the March for Life march happens every year. And so we support peaceful, free, even when we disagree with it. Clearly, it is not an issue in their point of view. We do not agree with. Look, because the president believes that it is critical. It is a critical pillar of democracy to do that in a peaceful way, to march, and so of course we support that. But that said, we want to make sure that we continue to underscore the ongoing attacks on women's rights to make their own health care decision. This is something that the Biden-Harris administration has taken very seriously. This is something that you have heard us take action, executive action on. And this is an issue that we're going to continue to ask Congress to make sure that they take actions on this as well as we go into the next couple of days into what would have been the 50th anniversary of Roe v. Wade. So this is an important issue, a critical issue. Let's not forget during the midterms, voters made themselves very clear. They want us to make sure here in Congress and at the White House and the federal government that we protect our people's rights. And they want to see that. And so that is how we see the March for Life. Again, we support peaceful speech, free of speech, peaceful march, even though we don't agree with their particular policy or issue.
The Vice President, why is she doing the speech?
Give me 1 second. If anybody wants to go and cover the president, you're free to do so. You do not feel, if you're confirmed. That's right. No. Yeah, I know if folks have been registered and confirmed to go, please feel free. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly, the Vice President, she's giving the speech.
Yeah, so look, you've seen the Vice President be a leader on this issue over the last several months since the Dobbs decision came down this past summer. It is not unusual. I had just mentioned that after Florida was the first state that she visited after the Dobbs decision, and so she's going back. And the importance of Florida, right? The importance of where it is located.